what's going on as far as the reality of situations, then it's, a thing like Christmas and these holidays is, if they help you connect with your family, you know, use it. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. I would use it for that. For that reason. That'd probably be the only reason you'd be using it, but it's still a good thing. I would think. All right.
I
So,
seen that video too about
which,
the holiday stocking after 2030.
oh,
I
did you?
checked mine. Yeah, definitely. It's right on the head.
Uh,
Like right after 2030, everything was blank.
2030 is a lot of shit gonna go blank. Because they talking about the world is gonna go blank in 2030. People
It's
not
starting from
realizing.
like 2027, or even next year, going into 2027. There's only preparation right now before everything kick off.
I
So
mean,
And I got
I
an
tell
iPhone
everybody,
too.
getting prepared. Like I am watching everything as deal with my soul trap, and
yeah,
I'm watching everything as they unfold.
I got some of the guys at work to check their calendar and shit. The ones just so I could see if it wasn't an iPhone thing.
yeah.
Somebody said 2027. After that their holiday stop. Somebody said 2031 their holiday stop. Shit is crazy.
Yeah, it's they silently telling us it's gonna be a new program. I think the kickoff gonna
Yeah,
be
like
though
literally.
when it's something coming. You know what I'm saying? Like if people, when you look at the pandemic, that was a global thing that they put down. So if you think they just did that and ain't nothing gonna follow that up, you will be sadly mistaken on that. You know what I'm saying? Like that that
For
was
real.
that was like really the first time in modern history that the world did something in unison. So now that they know that they can get the world to react in unison, it's something coming behind that. They didn't do that just to, you know, just to do it. That was a testing ground. Actually, I posted a video of a woman, a white woman. This was early on when this pandemic happened, who was saying that we were in a simulation. You know what I'm saying? And she provided some good evidence to support that the pandemic was nothing but a simulation of, not a simulation, I take that back. A exercise. It was a military exercise to see what they could do. You know what I'm saying? So, but the reason I brought up the West Coast is because Japan and Alaska had them two major earthquakes that ain't nobody really hear about. And um, the last I checked, San Francisco had a swarm of earthquakes just hit them a couple days ago. That shit on the West Coast is coming, man. That shit on the West Coast is coming. Something gonna happen out there, dog. Real talk. In 2026, something major gonna happen. Whether it's gonna be the UFO thing with the aliens or the West Coast thing, 2026, something gonna happen for real. That's gone, And then you got Donald Trump already telling motherfuckers that what's coming ain't can't be stopped. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the only good thing about him is he can't close his mouth. But the thing about Donald Trump, I seen a post and I went back and I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna make my own post on it. But I seen a post where it said, you know, it's two different Donald Trumps because the first one had brown eyes and then now this one got blue eyes. So I did some digging and I think in '88, I think I found out in '88 is when his eyes changed. '88 was the last year Donald Trump had brown eyes. He got blue eyes now. So I think they're replacing these motherfuckers, and I'm gonna have to get that video up of Farrakhan so people can see, man. They are replacing people that they feel like they can't control. And Donald Trump would be a motherfucker that you could not control. You know what I'm saying? So,
They definitely replaced Biden
yeah.
from when he was the vice
Definitely.
president. So I believe that.
Yeah, definitely replace Biden. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I said they do put these things, like I said, in these type of movies that I don't know if I see these type of movie that's coming out. You know what I mean? You have the one of the Mission Impossible, the last one, where they're talking about Antarctica and that entity, which is that quantum computer, which is that it's like a AI that controls all air.
Mm-hmm.
If you would consider that type of weird, you know what I'm saying? That type of weird, I should say. And you got the Great Flow with the China. They had to create their artificial sun. They already know like I said, everybody know what's going on a big scale when that treaty that expired from Antarctica. What
Yeah.
they call it a grav
Oh, that treaty expires. Did it expire already, or when do it expire?
expired. So it's about to, people just going around thinking this shit is like a Christmas party, bro. This shit about to turn up. Like I'm already know what.
That's a big thing, that Antarctica treaty expiring, because when they first did it, it was for what, like 50 years.
50 years, yeah.
Yeah, for
50 years,
50
all
years.
continents, all global
And
continents
see,
together.
look, that's not no coincidence that the Antarctic treaty would expire in 50 years at a time when we got social media like we do, and the way the world is as far as
Yeah,
people's,
technology is right.
yeah, and people wanting to get into this type of esoteric knowledge. I don't think that's no,
Yeah.
you know.
And if people don't understand, to be honest, like you have to look at it like what we doing right now, what you doing right now, in the sense of like esoteric knowledge deep within the soul trap session. It's like it's not gonna be here, fam. Like it's just not gonna be
No,
there.
I
When
keep
they
telling
want you to
people.
catch on to like, no, they're gonna wipe this shit from the internet. All
Right. They
videos,
better get it now.
all
They keep thinking.
if you don't,
I
bro,
keep
that's
trying to
what we
explain to
doing.
people, man.
Anybody who get into it, they gonna get persecuted. Anybody who's trying to do what you're doing right now, and it soul chap reincarnate, what you doing? Get
Yeah.
them out of here. You know
And
what I'm saying? So you can't post nothing. They're gonna watch. They're gonna watch your DMs and everything. Like you said, the whole thing was a setup to control. You know what I mean? So if anybody not getting on, you can't do with your phone. You gotta learn to pick up them books and read, write. This is
yeah,
why I write down my information. I'm doing my social media. I write down my system books because you're not gonna always have your phone. EMP, whatever the situation might be. You're
right.
not gonna have
You gotta take notes for real.
electronics. So what I do is I get a book and I write my shit down, bro. I get to learn to write down. So when the time comes, I still got my knowledge. Cause why? You can take away all the internet and the social media and all that, bro. I got what I needed because my shit's right down. You can burn all the books. Ooh, burn all the books, burn the knowledge. Ben was doing that a couple thousand before I became here.
And see, that's what they made motherfuckers do before books, was memorize that knowledge and pass it down. Yeah.
So you burn them shits specifically. You literally go to the library, burn books. So what do you think I'm gonna do? So the smart thing is to do it right. And it's so simple that is. People don't even think about that. Like, bro, gotta write this shit down. So, like, you can't keep saving shit on the phone. Like, some of the shit not
Right.
on your phone.
That's what they burned down, that library of Alexandria on purpose, man.
Yeah.
That motherfucker was burned down on purpose.
And what do you think the people still doing? Paving or carving in the wall? And what they do with the wall? Breaking them shits down too.
Yeah. Because the motherfuckers that got the knowledge, they ain't just burning shit down and then the knowledge is lost. They got the knowledge and they burning that shit down so we can't get a hold of that shit.
We can't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. So it's the Vatican, all of them. The Vatican run the world. I already know. They are the ones that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I didn't know about the whole West Coast and the water, underwater and shit like that. What do you think about the East Coast for the future?
We gonna cook, bro. We a cook.
Yeah, I posted that map.
Cause I'm over here. Yeah, I seen.
No, bro. This is
bro,
like watch.
Anybody by a large body of water is fucked. And that go for Memphis too. I'm in Memphis.
Bro. I'm in New York. I'm by the Hudson River.
Yeah, New York, fucked. Memphis, fucked.
Freezing temperature without water, bro. Nobody not gonna really survive, bro.
People in the Gulf, Louisiana, all of them down there, fucked. West Coast, gone. People by the Great Lakes, fucked. All the
right now.
all the bodies of water is going to expand. They
I
all
know,
I
I
ain't
going
know.
about
to
no
expand.
major bodies of water, but like I do notice sometimes when it be like, let's say like we get like 4 day 4 days of rain straight or some shit like that,
Yeah.
man, it
Yeah.
be puddles everywhere. Like
It just did that. It just did that in some place here in the United States. I forget where it was, but they had four
I
days
think
of
it's North
rain.
Carolina. In Carolina.
Was it Carolina?
I
They
don't
had
know.
4 days of rain, man, that flooded them out.
yeah, that's where I'm at in North Carolina. But
Yeah,
I wasn't in the flood part, luckily though.
you
Yeah,
know,
because it was certain part of Carolina wasn't thinking about getting flooded. That they're saying like a whole of them places getting flooded out. Like people, just a couple deaths happened, but they're not making the shit national wide. Like it's all the national news and they bring up Jamaica with the Hurricane Melissa and all that. They're not doing that, bro. 'Cause
The recording has started.
yeah,
America is on the timeline of every country that every rule. Just like the Roman Empire and everybody got their time would expire. This is America time now, bro. To go to that.
yeah.
Whatever.
America done enjoyed 400 some years without
Yeah,
shit happening.
word.
You know what I'm saying?
So that this is the time. So I'm telling people. So I even tell my mom, like, mom, so don't ever
It's
worry about
going down in
shit.
America. You don't, and Europe, because Europe done had a
And you,
long time without catastrophe. So those two places, man,
They fucked.
they time is coming.
or China set up that stimulation
Yeah,
for
China got that.
regenerating human DNA for the next human, just trying to make the next humanity survive. So they already on that
Exactly.
shit.
China gonna survive though. They be, if we don't get too much China ancient history, but if you go just skim through China ancient history, they survivors, man.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
survivors. Them motherfuckers
the thing about
survive shit,
Mhm.
and they done built that artificial sun.
The movie Great Flood is one of the next
Yeah,
thing that
you know what? I pulled a clip. That actually was the movie I was talking about when I was trying to tell people about the movie where they building like the governments or whatever private
yeah,
industry or whatever. They building these big super arcs, like modernized arcs. That's the movie you
it's
need
a
to go watch. It's called, what's it called, Yaga? The Great Flood.
Great Flood, yeah.
Yeah, the Great Flood. Watch that movie. That movie is, and they doing that shit for real, dog. They doing that shit for
Like
real.
remember the 80s.
Don't think these motherfuckers just built bunkers and ain't built no fucking super arcs. Nah, they built they got bunkers and super arcs as well. They know a
And
flood is
hustle just
coming.
to get up out of here.
Yeah, they know a flood is coming though. They know it.
Yeah. And look, and that's China, bro. Look at China. Look at all the tsunamis that's recently just earthquake that's
Yeah,
happening in China. China already know. China is very prepared and they already in preparation.
Japan
We
too.
US or American people that's probably ignorant to certain things going on every day and not really realizing like, bro, at a certain point, bro, you never know when it's gonna come. You can just be out there and be like, you hit this big emergency alert or some whatever they, you know what I mean, in some type of case. So, just to stay preparation with the whole wisdom, you know what I mean, balance with the whole spiritually and naturally, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
You ain't trying to be ignorant, if that gonna come, but you just say, all right, just prepare and just embrace yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't be, you know what I mean?
it's coming. I know people don't want to hear that shit because we've been conditioned. Really, in America, we've been conditioned to be soft. You know what I'm saying? Because
That's what.
they, ain't no hardship really came to people's doorstep except, like people in North Carolina and down south, when Hurricane Katrina and stuff like that happened. But for the most part, America been guarded. We ain't had no wars on our land or nothing like that. So motherfuckers don't understand, right? When China and Russia and North Korea and them invade this motherfucker, because they will do it. They are gonna do it. When that happen,
They already set up. They already set up the little camps like right
yeah,
outside out of some. Oh,
people not gonna know how to. People not gonna know what to do in situations like that. You know what I'm saying? People are really not gonna know what to do in situations like that. People don't understand. Look, when Mexico last the last Independence Day Mexico had, when they let Russia and China march in Mexico's Independence Day parade, Mexico was telling the world, and especially the United States, we are not your ally anymore. We are riding with your enemies. We ride with Russia. We ride with China. So people thinking that Mexico's borders is not going to be open to let Chinese, Russian, and North Korean troops up to run across that border, you sadly fucking mistaken. They coming up. They coming.
Ending with the North Koreans.
Yeah, that's why I said North Koreans. They coming. Look, China got 2 million boots on the ground. North Korea got 2 million boots on the ground. We don't have no army that can withstand 4 million troops, dog. we barely got a million. United States barely got a million troops on the ground. We can't withstand 4 million troops. That's a lose situation.
We do got.
Yeah.
We do got jammed.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways.
Exactly. So, man, people not paying attention. They think, they doing what the media tell them to do in the United States. Just keep, drink your eggnog and keep buying stuff, wasting your money, and don't worry about the future. We got the future for you. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what people looking at. People, they not informed. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand why it's beef. They don't understand why Donald Trump got beef with, Venezuela and Mexico's. They actually talking, they trading shots. You know what I'm saying? People they're not even paying attention. Presidents don't talk like that to each other. You know what I'm saying? That's like two gang members talking crazy to each other. You know what I'm saying? If they talk crazy to each other, some drama about to jump off. So I don't understand why people, when you hear Donald Trump, talking smack to Mexico's president, Venezuela's president, to these other countries, you don't think that repercussions come with that. Repercussions come with that even on your block, even in your household. You can't say anything to anybody in your house and don't expect repercussions to come from that shit if you get out of line. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why motherfuckers don't think that motherfuckers that got buttons beneath their little fingertips, you know what I'm saying, to send motherfuckers here and do that and there, ain't gonna fucking, take somebody's words like disrespect.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I would not be traveling like that too. So that's another thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm gonna stay aware. Alert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the key point because
we in a different time. You know what I'm saying? We in a different time. It's too much, and then you got this AI shit. Man, I was watching something on the news the other day, and I was like, how do I know this, like some robbery or murder or something? How do we know now they ain't just showing us shit that's just straight up AI? That ain't even real. You know what I'm saying? How do we know? We don't know. I got a video of them acting out when Donald Trump got shot. I got a video that looked like it's from behind the scenes. That whole thing is a play. I got a video. I'm gonna post it. I got a video of that where they actually saying action and cut. You know what I'm saying? Where people in the crowd and they like action, and then the people start waving the sign. I got a video that show that. I got a video of when he gets shot. They say cut, and they like, okay, Trump put the hand up, because remember he put his hand up with the thumbs up signal, and then they like action. I got a video that shows this shit. And I don't know if it's real or fake, but that's the whole fucking thing about AI. You don't know if it's real or fake.
Yeah, you can know it really. You just gotta like watch the video closely.
Man, I done went through that frame by frame.
That are like an authentic real video, like AIP that can't do.
I done went through that thing frame by frame. AI is getting better, man. It's gonna get to it's already at the point where you question a lot of shit, especially the dead giveaway for a lot of AI videos is they only giving you a small clip. That's the giveaway. So when you see something that's like it's a video going around on the internet right now where a police officer, I think they say they in the Carolinas. You might have seen it, Uzi, where it's lights in the sky like UFOs, and the policeman say stay behind my car. And somebody say, are you getting this? But the video is only short. It's only about 12 seconds long. So, that make me think it's AI. But what if you get a video where it's longer than that?
I've been seeing lights in the sky.
You been seeing lights in the sky though
I ain't seen that. You talking about in particular, but
in Carolina?
yeah, out here in the country, yeah, you see a lot of shit in the sky sometimes.
Yeah,
You be thinking it's stars, but like, or either like like they're aircraft and shit. But sometimes the blinking on them don't match. Their aircraft. You can tell the difference. It's like that's not a it's not a it's like a moving star. And then it start moving all fast and shit, and then
right.
you miss it. You be like too fast to record, whatever.
That's like here in Memphis, man. A couple years ago, I put that post up of that cloud in broad daylight. It was the only cloud in the sky, and it had lightning and shit coming out of it. And I taped that motherfucker for about an hour. I went live on Instagram with it. I'm like, man, watch this cloud. And it was a bright sunny day. It was around 4 o'clock in the summertime, and this cloud had lightning in it, man. On a bright sunny day, the only cloud. You can't tell me that wasn't no UFO shit right there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm walking. I see money fall out the sky. I don't know how to explain that. A car passing me by a windows tinted and flying. This is nothing like just driving regular, somebody driving fast and walking past a car. I look up and money just coming out the air, bro. Like 40s and 50s. And I probably add up to like $200 that time. But I don't know how to explain it to certain shit like that weird,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not out of the norm. Yeah, that shit like that. It's like, how you explain it to somebody? Like, bro, money was falling out the sky. You like, what?
You know what tripped me out is down here in Memphis, they got the pyramid, and it was on the news down here about, I guess it's about 15, 20 years ago, that they had a crystal skull was found in the roof of the pyramid. And then Alex Jones came down here and did a piece on it. You know what I'm saying? He knew the owner's name and all of that. And he was saying that they was like putting some type of, they was doing some satanic ritual or some shit over the city of Memphis by doing this whole thing with this, with this crystal skull. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit was on the news. This is what I was tripping on. I got it. I'm gonna post it too. I ain't posted it yet. I'm really trying to wait on Instagram to get off this fuck shit on my main page, because they shadow banning the shit out of me right now. But yeah, that shit was on the news, man. A crystal skull found in the in the roof of that motherfucking pyramid. It's called the Bass Pro Pyramid now, but that's crazy. Like that's crazy. The story on them crystal skulls is when it's supposed to be 7 of them. When all 7 of them come together, they supposed to release a lot of information, because crystal really is, I think it's silicone, not crystal, but it might be crystal, but whatever, silicone or crystal, it holds, it's a conduit that can hold a lot of information. So they say when all those skulls come together, they supposed to tell like all the secrets of everything, like how humans was created, like who created us, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to expose everything.
Do you know where they? Excuse me. This is it from the Anunnaki? Those
crystal skulls
mechanisms or whatever.
I mean, it could be something that Inky did. Maybe Inky did that because he thought maybe the tablets would be destroyed, because the Sumerian tablets Inky made those. So.
But Inky know we ain't gonna have no access to that, like you know what I mean, to certain people that who know that guarded and know where, like you said, look how they found it, right? And exactly in their possession. That information never going to be disposed upon the people to say we're going to be free from from the reincarnation, from the soul trap.
Right.
No. You know what I'm saying? But of course, we're the knowledge that we have to find, and like it's just looking for a needle in the sand, bro.
At some point, though, somebody has got to release something major.
So they say the Vatican. They say so.
That's going on
at a time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he was one of the seals of all the information he got to dispose. Not only
I know he got a couple of crystal skulls.
Yeah, he got a couple.
Yeah, he don't just got one. He got a couple of crystal skulls.
Next year, remember I tell everybody, watch out for next year how this shit gonna play out, son. Because you can't be too ignorant. This is what they're trying to do, distract niggas as much as they can. So I think around next year, down around May or summertime, he's supposed to dispose all the information out. But you know they're gonna play. They're gonna play in a way that, of course, people that not gonna have the deep wisdom to read between the lines, and you know what I mean, and read between certain things. So they're gonna read one of the informations out. But who have the knowledge, like who to hear, let them hear. You know what I mean? And who have the knowledge, the eyes to see, let them see. So who gonna hear, gonna hear. Like we that have the soul trap session and have the wisdom, the divine wisdom, gonna know what I want. We're gonna know what's up. We gotta be aware of when that time comes next year, because this shit gotta play into a timeline. It's a timeline. You know what I'm saying? They gotta read this shit out, and then this shit come up. You know what I'm saying? What gotta play after what he read about? You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it's like a whole thing set up. So
we gotta
watch out for Rraw the Poet.
We gotta learn to change the way we think. You know what I'm saying? Because school systems, college systems, they don't teach you to think independently. They teach you to think. They teach you to follow. They teach you to be obedient. They don't want people to think outside the box. You see what I'm saying? Like here goes something that's gonna fuck people head up, right? So people never think of this, right? So according to the Bible, God flooded the world because of what? Sin, right? Because sin, the world had fucked up, right? That's what he said, right? So think about this. Why haven't nobody thought about this? If God went as far as to flood the world out, to kill everybody and start over, why he didn't make man different? You see what I'm saying? Ramification thinking. Get the book at my website, coming out soon, right? Why he didn't change the world why he didn't change humans to be different?
It make us perfect, right? It make us.
You see what I'm saying? So what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, right? That's the definition of insanity. A motherfucker doing the same exact thing, yet expecting the outcome to be different. So that would mean God is insane, because here you flooded the world out. You killed all these people because in the Bible it say you did it because mankind was corrupt and sinful. Yet you started us over. You did no tweaks to mankind or humanity or nothing. And yet you expected us to come out different. And doesn't God supposed to know future, past, and present? So is this like when you look up insanity, this should be the definition of insanity. Well, insanity is when God destroyed the world the first time because man was crazy and sinful and all of this and corrupt. And then he brought the same model of man back who is still sinful, crazy, and corrupt. I mean, that's the definition of insanity right there. So people they don't know how to think. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, do you think God is really crazy? Most people going to say no. Okay, well, if he's not crazy, then now you got to look at the other factors. Was the Bible wrong in what it said? Or is something wrong with who you think is God? Maybe he's not God. Maybe he's not the person you think he is that will be able to see future, past, and present. You see what I'm saying? So we've been conditioned not to even ask questions like this. They done made up sayings where people come up with a saying to make you shut the hell up just because you ask a question. They come up with sayings like, oh, well, the Lord works in mysterious ways. What the fuck does that mean? That's supposed to explain away some of the craziness that you read in the Bible? Like God supporting slavery, slaves be obedient to your master. That's what that's supposed to support. I'm not supposed to question, why is God supporting slavery? You know what I'm saying? He supports slavery. He tells slaves, be obedient to your master. So why would I, as being a black man whose ancestors were enslaved, why would I be accepting this BS? I would not. I would question it. And through my questioning, I would say, I'm not about to be aligned with a person that wants to see me in chains. You see what I'm saying? Am I wrong for thinking that? Am I wrong for saying I don't want to be a slave? The fuck? Am I wrong for saying, well, I don't agree with this person you call God. I don't agree with what he stands for. I don't want to be a slave. I don't want my kids to be slaves. So why would I support a dude that has said this? Would you vote for a candidate that, a presidential candidate that has said he supports slavery? No, you wouldn't. So why would I align myself with anything or anybody that would put harm on me? Because that's putting harm on somebody. And see, not enough black people are reading that Bible that they so-called worship and all, and the religions. You're not reading. You're not reading, and not reading is going to make you suffer. All right. Stevie Wonder made a song, Superstition. When you believe in things that you don't understand, you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. He was trying to send people a message. All right. I think, I grew up Christian and then I converted to Islam when I was in a joint. But what did I do first? I read the whole entire Quran first before I converted. I think anybody that goes from one thing to another, before you jump into something else, don't you try to find out what that something else is before you get into it? Of course, right? Even if you change, like I just changed over from Xfinity to AT&T. Like, you think I didn't figure out what AT&T had going for it before I switched? Of course. So why would religion or belief be any different? You should try to find out, what it is. But here's the thing, right? The first thing that you in, for many people in America, is Christianity. You didn't get a chance to look that over. That was passed down to you through family, friends, school, whatever. Even just the environment that we live in, that the United States is a so-called Christian nation. So many people don't even know what Christianity is and claim to be a Christian because they haven't read the Bible. So you ascribe to be something that you have no knowledge of actually what it is. And so when I say things to you like God told Joshua to go and kill every man, woman, and child in the land of Canaan, people don't believe that God would kill babies. Why would you kill a baby? If you got a child, look at your child now. God ordered Joshua to kill your child and you. He said men, women, children, and the animals. If you got any pets, he said kill them all. It had nothing to do with them being clean or unclean. It's not a baby clean. If a Ku Klux Klansman have a baby, it's not that baby. Is that baby a racist? No. Is that baby not pure and clean? Yes. So why would God tell Joshua, and it wasn't just Joshua, he told other prophets too, to kill them all. Go into the land, take the land. And he was all about the land. So now you should start questioning, just based off these two things that I'm spitting, which is facts. You see what I'm saying? Why would God destroy the world and kill all these people and then bring the same product back? The same type of human back. Now what? Now we looking at what? Another flood. People be talking about, oh, but God said he ain't gonna destroy the world with another flood. Here you believe in the word of somebody that kills babies, all right, that did a first flood with no plan on changing the humans at all, who all throughout the Bible is, when he rescues the children of Israel from Egypt, what does he do? He turns them into an army and they go and they fight and kill everybody. They fight against the whole world. They fight the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Canaanites, the every other fucking civilization in the world. They go and fight. And people are praying to this God who is a warmonger, who supports slavery. Because in some places, when they went and killed, some places God didn't tell them to just kill everybody. Some places he said, take the women and children as slaves.
And not to cut you off too, fam. That's one of the next ramification thing when they're looking at Noah flood, right? And it was like, damn man, Jack like if you just like to really like do a lot of ramification thinking is like they say there was only people left, right? 'Cause after the flood, they was on the ark. When they came off when the flood went down and all that, how they repopulate the world? The waiting is incest start from. Because they was the only girl, the girl that was there, and the Noah's wife. That was only two female.
Right, according to them.
Okay, so
Yeah.
how according to them, right? So how
Right.
can
So
you
we all should come
repopulate that?
from one family. If you think about that, if the flood story in the Bible is correct, how did the world repopulate? All right. And then look, check this out. I'm glad you brought that up because this says this. So the world supposedly repopulated off of Noah's family, who was supposedly the only good people in the world. So you telling me God was this naive to think that these group of people, all right, could and would repopulate the world into a better human than what it was before? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. The reason your preachers and pastors stay up out of that Old Testament is because if you read the Old Testament, you will drop Christianity like a bad habit. You will see that it is a cult. And then they put all this weight on Jesus' shoulders talking about, but Jesus gave a new covenant. Jesus ain't bring no new covenant. That's something your preachers and pastors lying to you about. Jesus said, I came to fulfill the wishes of my Father. Basically, he said, I didn't come to change the laws of Moses. I came to fulfill them. And if you don't believe that's true, then when the disciples asked Jesus, teach us how to pray, what did Jesus give them? The Lord's Prayer, which says what? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth the same way as it is in heaven. All right. So where's the new covenant in that? Jesus didn't come to bring no new covenant. He came to do the will of his Father and make sure what his Father said is law down here on earth. And so if you want to know what his Father said, go back and read the Old Testament. Slavery, enact slavery. Slaves, be good to your masters. That's what Jesus' Father is on. He kills kids. He'll kill anybody. And not all for good reasons. So people not understanding that it's something wrong here with this one you calling God. All right. What do we do here in our modern world with people that kill babies? They catch hell in the joint. I could tell you that. But people that kill babies, I'm not going to lie. You know, the slavery thing was one thing. But when I read that God gave orders to kill babies, I was done then there. I was done right there, dog. That was the final straw. That's what made me drop Christianity. When I read God told Joshua to go in there and kill women and children and babies. Because I really thought that out. They ain't got guns back then. They got knives and swords. So a motherfucker had to walk up to a baby, dog, and grab that baby by his hair and slit that baby throat. What do that do to the person that, what if you're a soldier for God? What do that do to you? Our own soldiers that come back from, Iraq and all of that shit, they got the highest rate of suicide, meaning they blowing their fucking brains out. Our own soldiers are blowing their brains out more than anybody else. All right? More than anybody else. Our own soldiers, our veterans are blowing their fucking brains out because of what they saw in a modern war with tanks and 30-30 scopes that can shoot somebody from 2 miles away and you ain't got to see no blood or nothing like that. So imagine what type of psychological effect was put on the children of Israel when God told them to go attack these different people and kill all of them. You were turning people into maniacal killers, maniacs. You were turning people into maniacs. If any of us was in that army and we had to go in there into the land of Canaan and kill babies and women and children, I guarantee you, it's two things either gonna happen. You either gonna become a maniac or you gonna break and go kill yourself. Them two things is gonna happen. You either become a hardened killer or you gonna be or the pressure gonna be too much and you're gonna kill yourself. That's what's gonna happen. And that's what God did to the children of Israel when he told them to go do that stuff. So when I read that part and I really put it in context, like, damn, Would I have done that? I probably would have told God, you're gonna have to shoot me in the ass, nigga, because I'm about to run. Cause I'm not going in there killing no women and kids. That's straight the fuck up out of it. That's out. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
look at, but look,
you can
but look
split
at,
my
look
ass,
at
cause
for
that's all you gonna see.
But look up for the Egyptians though. Like I feel like if I don't want to like follow the king, like bro, I don't feel like the afterlife is navigate me. But even though that's what they're saying to whoever there in that time, that yo, this is the way to set up to the afterlife and navigate, knowing that it's not reincarnate. It's a soul trap to be reincarnated, but you're not knowing because you're following orders. You being a humble servant.
And see,
One
that's
of the
our
Egyptian
problem.
king,
That humble
you know what I'm
servant,
saying?
that humble servant
That humble
shit.
servant,
That's our problem.
You're not questioning nothing. You're not asking. You're not be like, yo, king. I
We
don't
putting
think
people
this is what
above
it needs
us,
to go.
and
Right.
we're not for sure of anything. Only thing, look, a motherfucker can tell you all day long, God this, God that, right? God exists. God is real. You hear people say this shit all the time. I know God real in my life because he did this for me and he did that for me. Well, this is what I say to people like that. Why is he doing something for your ass when all you got to do is get up off your ass and go get it, and he ain't doing shit for starving babies in Africa? They been starving in the Sudan, nigga, for decades. Cause it just won't rain. So why is God up here fucking with you and you live in a modern country where you get your food up out of the refrigerator, or you want some water, you turn on the faucet? Why he ain't fucking with people that gotta put a basket on their head and walk for 2 miles and get water out of a fucking well, and then walk for 2 miles with this heavy ass thing on their head and bring water back to their village? Why he ain't fucking with them people? Why he ain't helping them? So stop saying you blessed because you live in a country where all you got to really do is get up off your ass and get out in this world and make it happen. When there's people down there that's starving, they don't have no world to get up and go get up off their ass and get something. So why God ain't fucking with them people? So when I hear people say they blessed, I really be want to smack the shit out of them, because you're not blessed, you fucking ignorant. And you sitting up here thinking the world evolve around your circumstances and your surroundings. You're not thinking of people that live in places where you couldn't even probably survive at. You know what I'm saying? These people go dig through garbage dumps. When I say a dump, I'm not talking about a little dump. I'm talking about the whole city garbage dump to find food to eat, because they starving to death. And motherfuckers sit up here in the United States and talk about how good God is blessing them because they got a new position at work, or they got a new car, or they got a house, or, some dumb shit. The fat income tax check kind. Whatever the fuck dumb shit it is. You know what I'm saying? I'll be looking at them people, man, with like they idiots. Because you're not thinking. You're not using your brain. Your religion, you cling so hard to, your Jesus is only good in America. Why your Jesus ain't good in Africa? Why your God is crap in Africa, but he good in the United States? The fuck out of here with that shit. That's how you know, man, people are being manipulated. And I get it. I used to go to church every Sunday and all of that shit. But when I started asking questions and I started seeing that the motherfuckers that's supposed to have the answers didn't have the answers, I started looking for the answers myself. And what I found made me say, God damn, I've been letting these motherfuckers fuck me over all this time. You giving away your energy. People say, I'm going to put it in God's hands and let God handle it. God ain't concerned about you if he not concerned about starving babies in Africa. And he ain't. So why is he concerned about your sinning ass? That's what I be trying to explain to motherfuckers. Ain't nobody looking out for you but you, dog. You. Because ain't nobody looking out for them in Africa but them. So if ain't nobody looking out for the least of us, the ones that's more worse off than anybody, he not looking out for you. You looking out for you. So stop giving your power away saying God this and God that, and understand, like, the one thing Jesus did tell you, which was correct. The kingdom of heaven, God is in you, because your soul is God. Your soul comes from creation. You can do anything if you believe in yourself. Even them people in Africa. But the white man, and not to really say it like that, but that's who did it, you got to be honest. They got people thinking that God is an outside source to pray to. And see, people, that's why they took the book of Enoch out of the Bible. Because if a lot of people would have read the book of Enoch, they would understand when Enoch tell you that Angel Gabriel took him up to the heavens and that they were physical places that he can touch, places where he saw mountains of gold, silver, and precious metals. That would wake people up to like, why would God want precious metals? What do God got to do with precious metal? Is he trading precious metals on the Forex or something? What's going on? Why does God have precious metals? Mountains of them on reserve in heaven. Why? Why? People can't answer that question. But that's why the book of Enoch was taken out. Because who you think God is, some spirit in the sky or whatever, you sadly mistaken. He's a physical being that asks for his slaves at the beginning in the Bible to give him offerings of food. Why would a spirit ask for offerings of food at a time when food was so scarce? Wasn't no stores around. Cain killed Abel. Cain held back on his grain offering to God. I understand why. Because, technically, if you a spirit, you about to waste this food. You know what I'm saying? And how long do it take to give you some vegetables and shit? Nigga, it took all summer long. So why would I give it to you to waste? And here we need this food to survive through winter. People don't think. They don't use their head. You see what I'm saying? Then
but some people not gonna know how to think if I can control the way how you think. If I can control the way how you think, you ain't gonna have no time to think for yourself.
And then look at this. God playing games. God playing games, right, testing you out. He tell Abraham to sacrifice his son. Do you know the turmoil that somebody would go through in their head? What type of turmoil would you go through in your head if God told you to sacrifice your kid? Even though he was at the end gonna say, did Abraham know at the end he was gonna say, no, I'm just playing. You ain't gotta cut his throat. He ain't know, right? So what type of shit would you go through mentally if here you trusting and believing in this God, and then you take your kid to a rock and you about to cut your kid throat just because God told you to do it? I personally wouldn't even do it because I'd be like, the fuck this got to do? What the fuck do this got to do with my loyalty to you? Shouldn't you already be able to read that in me? You see what I'm saying?
No, because you made my wife pregnant.
He's supposed to be he's supposed to be all knowing, all seeing.
So, right.
You see what I'm saying?
You gave him something to control him how to believe, like, okay, I do something good for you. So, if I tell you go do something for you, I got you. Because I did something for you already to show you that, show some loyalty. So, like you said, you know you're going to switch his mind, but to show that he can control how you think, yeah, that's one right there. He ain't going to get no ramification thinking there. He's not going to be like, what you mean killing my son? Like, bring my son to the well like a lamb. And
these are just things that show that who you think you dealing with, who you think they told you was dealing with, is not who we dealing with. Think about it for a second. For black people in America, your Christianity and Jesus and all that shit come from who? The slave master. Why would the slave master give you a book that would give you freedom when he didn't want you to be free? So, common sense say, your enemy is not about to give you the blueprint for freedom if he wants you to stay enslaved, right? So how dumb was our ancestors to even take that book? And let's be clear, a lot of them, this shit was forced on us in a variety of ways. Not everybody, bought into this. The motherfuckers that sold us out, what people don't realize, is the ones today is your preachers and pastors. Those are the fucking sellouts, because they was the sellouts in the beginning when the white man pushed this onto the black slaves. See, they took one house nigga out of the slave camp that they saw was a kiss ass. They took that nigga, showed that nigga how to read, and say, this is the book you're gonna read, and you give this to them. So your preacher and pastor has always been a sellout Uncle Tom ass type motherfucker. And I say that knowing my baby mama is a preacher. All right? But see, they take them type of people and they use them to reach the rest of us. So your preachers and pastors have a historical line in them of being some, fuck boys and fuck girls and motherfuckers that, house niggas. That's it. So if you don't think that translates to the nigga you go to church with on Sunday today, you sadly mistaken. Go in that motherfucker and ask that motherfucker, how come we don't read the Bible from front to back like a regular book? How come you don't read the Bible like a regular book? The Bible is the only book in the world that motherfuckers start in the halfway point where the New Testament is to start reading. All right? It's the only book. I thought going to Sunday school meant we was going to open up the Bible on page 1 and read this motherfucker so we could understand it. But they don't want you to understand it. If you begin to understand it, then there go another donation just walked out the door. People need to wake up. You can't trust nobody. You came in this world by yourself, you're going to leave by yourself. So you better read as much as you can and learn as much as you can about your own soul, because ain't no friend program or partnership program dealing with the afterlife. Death is the only thing promised to you in this world. So since we all know and believe that the soul goes on after death, to not know what goes on in the afterlife is stupid as fuck. It's like, I can't even compare it to nothing because don't nobody do nothing in real life that's that stupid. If you know you're going somewhere, most people want to know, well, what's it going to be like where I'm going? Let me get some information on where I'm going because I've never been there before. And that's why I be telling motherfuckers, you better get that soul trap session and learn what to do in the afterlife. Learn what that afterlife is all about. Because everything society teaching you is wrong. It's wrong, and it's easily provable wrong once you start, reading. But you got to do the reading. And if you don't want to do the reading, then you pay somebody like me that's done the reading for you and gonna tell you the truth about the shit. Because your preachers and pastors, they ain't telling you the truth about a motherfucking thing. And I guarantee you, go in there on Sunday talking some of this shit that I'm talking right now, and watch they escort your ass up out of there until you don't come back. Because you're not about to wake up the rest of the sheep. That's why they call y'all a flock. That's why they call y'all sheep. That's why they call Jesus the sheep herder.
That money with a bank, man. As long as you bring that in tithes and offering, you're good.
Yeah. That's why they call Jesus the sheep herder. Because the people are the sheep. What do sheep do? Sheep follow blindly. That's what sheep do. Sheep are obedient beings that follow without question. That's why they call y'all sheep. And to me, it's crazy that they would even say that, because and still, the majority of people, the masses, is not figuring out that you're being insulted every time they call you the sheep or the flock. They insulting you right in your fucking face. And motherfuckers still ain't figured it out. And you walk in church, look, you walk in church and you see Jesus holding that thing with the round tip, like the sheep herder. You walk in church and you see that, and people still ain't figured it out. They actually making fun of you in your own goddamn face. In your own face, they calling you what's the equivalent of a sheep? Is calling you a mindless twit. A goddamn idiot. That's what they doing. And it's right in your face. You know what I'm saying? Jesus ain't come to save nobody. He came to make sure what his daddy put down is going to be down here on earth. Period. That's it. So if you got a problem with his father, then you got a problem with Jesus. Because why would people don't even think, why would Jesus come down here and go against his daddy for you? Like, what the fuck are you? Who is any of us? Are any of us worth anybody going against us for them? Like, all of us break their laws
sons.
Yeah, all of us break their laws and everything every day. You sin every day. You fuck, you suck, you do whatever it is you do. You sin every fucking day. And you think this dude is coming down here to go against his father, where he got to go back to and live with this nigga. He gonna go against him over you, some idiot. So he gonna have friction. Jesus is gonna have friction in his own household against his own father. For you, you're not using your fucking head. You're not using your head. And then if I was a woman, the whole very fact that the whole Christian scenery is devoid of females, you never could have got me in that shit if I was a woman. How the fuck you gonna have a father and a son, and instead of a woman, you got a Holy Ghost? Ain't none of them can give birth. So a father, a son, and a Holy Ghost.
Son, but he's supposed to be the human, which is us, of course. You know what I mean? But you know they take that out too. But they put the Holy Ghost.
But you got two dudes and a spirit. That's not relevant in the world today, or in the world period. And what's relevant in the world is a father and a mother and an offspring. You know what I'm saying? So why would you, if the Lord's prayer is, you know, the will of God be done on earth as it is in heaven, then how come then is something missing here? On earth as it is in heaven. So in heaven there must be a woman up there, because on earth you got a woman down here with the man.
Yeah,
How did Jesus have a
book of Judah, where he said that that mother that they're speaking about with the emanation of the light?
Yeah, that's
That
bullshit.
mother, they didn't give that name, of course.
That's bullshit. If you got a man and a woman, and you know, and a child, then you got a father and a son. Why you call him a son? He could never be a son without a mother. You see what I'm saying? So it's some fuckery going on up there, some fucking where. All right, which me as a woman, I would have been like, hold on. On earth, the will of God is supposedly being done. All right, a father cannot have a son without a woman. So why is the woman erased from, you know, the heavenly figures and all of that? Something wrong there. Something wrong. So,
well, in a war, the woman's influence is totally taken out. And so if this is actually a simulation battlefield to where it's different gods trying to control this, then that could be the reason why. It's because this is ultimately a war, and they don't need the woman's influence to mislead anything.
but think about it. Christianity is just one view. You got other godly views. The Greeks, the Egyptian, all of these, you know, the Roman myth, what they call mythology. They all have female gods. Why is the female god erased from Christianity, from Islam, from Judaism? All those three religions come from the same source. You see what I'm saying?
You're gonna crumble the whole church. You're gonna crumble the priesthood and the whole institution of the money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If woman, you know, on the sixth, so we know Adam and Eve is not the first humans. That may be a newsflash to some people watching, but Adam and Eve is not the first humans. The first humans was created on the sixth day, when the Elohim said, "Let us create humankind in our image, both male and female." They did that on the sixth day. All right, Adam and Eve was created on the day after rest. We don't know which day particular, but on the seventh day, the gods rested, and then after that, they made a garden, and then they made Adam. And then they said, it's not good for Adam to be alone. Let us find him a helper. But let's be clear, God didn't say after that, let's make a woman. He didn't say that. He said, bring every animal to Adam, and let us see if Adam can find a helper in the animals. So when Adam couldn't find a helper in the animals, then that's when God said, well, let us make, you know, a woman for him. So what's this thing with the you know, the whole Jewish God, the Judaism, and the Christianity God, Yahweh? What's this thing that he got against women? Because he clearly got something against women. You know what I'm saying?
I guess they because they tend to hold the information more delicately or delicately.
Well, whatever his reason is,
And
I wouldn't, as if I was a woman seeing this, why would I ascribe to a religion that removes me from the equation when every other religious so-called mythology has multiple women? You know, Egypt got Isis and, you know, and all of this. You got Aphrodite and all these other women. They all being represented.
Well, I think I mentioned this last class, that in Yahweh's case, he's trying to play out a mission, and he probably doesn't want to have a woman's word mislead what his direction is towards his own particular mission.
But the woman still would be subservient to him because he the man. So she wouldn't be saying nothing that he wouldn't be telling her to say, or, you know, Jesus is not saying nothing that God didn't tell him to say. People just misinterpreting what Jesus said. All right. But Jesus ain't said nothing that God ain't told him to say. Jesus ain't said, you know, that I'm going that what my father said was wrong. He ain't said no words like that. You know what I'm saying? That wording comes from preachers and pastors. Them words don't come out of Jesus' mouth. So, you know, when you know, people are setting themselves up to fail, and we all been there, because I'm quite sure all of us was in some type of religion before, you know, we came across this knowledge, right? And you know, but we had questions. And the difference between y'all and the difference between people who still ascribe to these religions is you had questions and you went and got the answers to those questions. And when you got the answers to those questions, it woke you up and said, I can't follow this no more. I don't agree with this. This is not who I am. I would never get on my knees and worship to a being that says, slave, be obedient to your master and go kill babies. I'm not following nobody like that. The fuck do I look like? A idiot? A punk? You know, like I'm stupid? I'm not stupid. People don't understand. You ascribing to that. And if homeboy was to show up right now and tell you to get on your knees, that's what he on. You gonna get on your knees for that? I'm not getting on my knees for no baby killer.
Use that word submissive, and woman supposed to be submissive, and man supposed to love a woman like the Christ of the body of the church. But you see how they use the psychological emotion reaction. So, like I tell you, they're always trying to control.
Yeah.
You know how you think, your feeling, your emotion. So if I know in a certain way, like you said, everything Jesus is doing is leading you back to the light. Everything that he's saying, he twisting and mix up in a way, or he trying to leave women or not leave women out or put women in. But it's still, like you said, why a woman would preach that same very thing where you know the equation, but you know it's about the reincarnation because you're going back to the light.
Yeah.
So you're just going back to the whole order for system, because I was looking at like another ramification, thinking like all the aliens, like I said, all within the polarity of good and bad. Good, bad, bad aliens, good aliens. So nobody can interfere, right? None of the aliens can't interfere because there's a universal law that they set up, whatever Galactic Federation law they set up, right? Niggas can't really interfere. They can't appear and be like, yo, bro, it's a soul trap session, and bro, I'm gonna give you the key to get up out of here, bro, because I don't want you to, you know what I mean? Nobody gonna come and say that directly. Or deliver it to you. So like you said, there's going to be a system where that even they're trying to leave clues, but it's not very much of a clue where it's very directly letting you know, like, yo, don't do that or don't do this in a certain way when this time comes, because this is gonna lead you to this, because this is this is what's gonna be. So, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's everything, like I said, a systematic system where they all know is a soul trap session. Or everybody, all them knows a soul trap session in the universe, right? All them know that. So it's like they can't really. How can they? I'm just my question. How can they even do something when they're part of the system?
So what people don't understand is that's the whole point. The very fact that you got a system is a red flag.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Red flag, right?
We're-
You know what I'm
you
saying?
know-
That's my thing. That's what I said, ramification thinking, because it's a system, and they know that they can't interfere. They have it
Right.
off with all themselves. Like, yo, bro, we can't interfere with them. We can fuck with them. We can do what they can, manipulate them and all that, but we can't directly deliberately show up and be like, yo.
And this
It's a
is
soul
another thing
transition,
people
bro.
not understanding. All right.
Right.
All these so-called people that come down here, these so-called prophets and stuff. All right. I don't care. Any type of person that come down here, you got to realize somebody sent him down here. Okay. So you got a Jesus. Jesus tells you who sent him. His Father who are in heaven. So it would be dumb to even think that Jesus is going to go against whatever his Father is on, because it is his Father who sent him in the very first place. You see what I'm saying? So why would people think Jesus and God is like fighting, going up against each other? Like Jesus came to, like Jesus got more sincerity than God do and all of this. You got Jesus fucked up. Like they got Jesus totally fucked up. You see what I'm saying? It is his own Father who sent him. That's like you sending your kid somewhere with a message. Is your kid gonna go against you, knowing that that kid got to come home to you? And if he say anything that you didn't tell him to say, that it's gonna get back to you? And what will be the repercussions to that kid? What's the consequences if that kid come back home and say some shit you never said? You're gonna get in his ass. So why would Jesus come down and say anything against his Father, or say anything that his Father didn't approve for him to say in the very beginning? Oh, Jesus died for your sins. And people think this belief is going to get them into heaven, which is a place where you really don't even want to go if you read the book of Enoch. You don't want to go to heaven. Heaven is not a place you want to go. Heaven equals instant reincarnation with your memories wiped clean from the past life. So when you listen to any of these fools like Dolores Cannon, Bashir, and all these other people that tell you, you down here to learn. That's what the meaning of life is. You here to learn. You can't learn if you can't remember, fam. So how can you learn anything if they wiping your memory clean? Babies up to age 7 remember their past lives. If you don't believe it, ask your kid, did they live? Do they remember their past life? They gonna tell you yes. You got until they 7 years old to get that information out of them. You got until they 7. They gonna tell you they remember. Ask them, do they remember being in heaven with God? Ask them, do they remember picking you as a parent? Ask them, do they remember, their past life? Was they a man? Was they a girl? Was they black? Was they white? What did they do? What job? Where did they live? Ask them these things. That's going to prove to you that reincarnation is real. So once you understand that reincarnation is real, why ain't your Bible telling you when you go to so-called heaven that you're going to be reincarnated? Why they ain't telling you that? Because they don't want you to know. Because a lot of people whose lives are tough, they don't want to come back and live life over. Why would you want to come back to and live this thing over again, especially if you had a tough life? What would make you want to keep doing that? Somebody got to have tough lives. Understand that. Everybody ain't going to live no good life. So since you're not in charge of which life you get, why the fuck would you want to, play craps on what type of life you're going to get in the next life? Because really the majority of people have fucked up lives. Look, the whole continent, damn near the whole continent of Africa, them people been having fucked up lives. It's only into the, recent years that they starting to see prosperity down there. Same thing with India. Same thing with China. You think them people want to? You think the majority of people want to come back and live a fucked up ass life? No. But why ain't your Bible telling you gonna reincarnate? Because your kids that's telling you they remember their past lives, they damn sure ain't lying. They not lying at all. They're only telling you what they remember. So people need to understand and wake up to the fact that you being lied to and you being misled in your religions. And they doing this because most of the people are too lazy to pick the book up and read page 1. Shit, if you read page 1 in the Bible, just in page 1, you will discover you live in a dome underwater, and that the sun, moon, and stars, God told you he put them all inside the dome, inside the firmament. So when they tell you they shooting, going to outer space, you should be saying, these motherfuckers is lying. Because in the Bible on page 1, it clearly say we live in a dome underwater, and the sun, moon, and stars are all inside that dome. That's just on page 1 of the Bible. Imagine what you will read and find out if you read the whole Bible. Just imagine. And if you really get slick with it and start questioning stuff like the 4 Gospels in the New Testament, those are the only books that tell you about Jesus in the Bible, is the 4 Gospels. Well, do a little bit more research on those 4 Gospels and find out who wrote them. Because they telling you Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are who wrote those. That's lies. Those texts were found completely anonymous. Nobody signed those books. Nobody. So they are what you call anonymous. They don't know who wrote them. So now that we established that, the fact that they all are virtually the same lets you know, right, that maybe one person wrote those. And since those 4 books are the basis of Christianity itself, where does that smoking gun lead to? The church. The church. If the church don't establish Christianity, look, do you know how much money Christianity brings in worldwide? Billions and billions and billions of dollars. The Bible is still the most #1 selling book in the world year after year after year. The Bible. If they don't establish Christianity, do you know how many billions of dollars is left to go someplace else? So the church is responsible for creating those 4 books. They were anonymous when they found them, which means anybody could have wrote them. They were written 200 years after Jesus left. All right. So, come on, man. It's not hard to figure that one out. We don't need Angela Lansbury or Matlock or some goddamn body to figure that one out. The smoking gun points right to the church. These are the motherfuckers that wrote that book. All right, y'all. I haven't talked enough. Let's get into it. We are at the School of Esoteric Knowledge, which you can join at my website, therrawreport.com, where we actually read ancient texts. And soon we will be going over the Bible, and we will read the Bible page by page, and we'll all offer our input into what we're reading, and we're going to figure these things out. So far we have read the Talmud of Emmanuel. We have read the Pista Sophia. We have read the books of Jude. And now we are reading the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. All right. So that's what we're going to pick up with right now. We left off on, page 27 inside the Book of the Dead, page 61 on my prompt here. So it says, wake up from thy rest, wake up from thy rest, thine abode is in Manu. Let me be entrusted to the fidelity which is yielded to Osiris. Come, O Ra, Timu be thou adored. Do thy will daily. Great success in presence of the cycle of the mighty gods. Beautiful art thou, O Ra, in thine horizon of the west. O Lord of law in the midst of the horizon. Very terrible art thou, rich art thou in attributes, and great is thy love to those who dwell in the Tuat. All right. To be said when Ra sets in the land of life with hands bent downward. So if you don't know what the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead is, it is a book of what some call sayings or spells or whatever for the deceased person to be able to successfully navigate through the afterlife to get to a so-called heaven. All right. So here, to give y'all some background on this. So you got the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. You got these spells or sayings, right, to help the soul navigate through the afterlife. So we just read the ancient text, the books of Jude, Jeu. In the books of Jude, passwords are given by Jesus to the disciples in the ancient text of Pistis Sophia. Passwords are given by Jesus to his own disciples to help them navigate through the afterlife so that they can reach where the heaven where Jesus is. So, newsflash, people, for all you people who believe all you got to do is believe and you going to heaven, why didn't Jesus just tell that to his disciples then? Why are there 2 books of Jesus giving the disciples passwords so that they can reach the place where Jesus is? Why do you have an ancient Egyptian book of the dead where there are spells that help people navigate through the afterlife? Why? Well, the reason why is because for you people who think that when you die, you don't have to do nothing, you fucking out your mind. Do that even make sense? When you was born, did you have to do something? So why do you think when you die, you don't got to do shit? When you was born, you was trained. From the time your kid was born to the time it turned 18, you trained that kid for 18 years, right? And then you're going to release that kid out into the world with 18 years of training, right? So why the fuck do you think that when you die, you don't need training? It's not death, which is really the birth, the going back to the soul. Is that not the real life? This life ain't the real life. If your soul goes on after you die at this physical plane, that means the soul is the real life, and this physical plane is the fake life. So why you not training yourself in the physical plane so that you will know what to do in the afterlife? Why are you not doing that? And I keep saying to you, if you don't know how to do it, then pay somebody that do know how to do it. Ain't that what we do in real life? Do you know how to work on your car? Can you fix your air conditioning or your heater in your car? No. What do? You go pay somebody to do it, right? That know what to do. So why am I any different? I spent 35 years of my life researching this shit. I know what to do in the afterlife. What did you do for 35 years? Fucking suck. I turned down a lot of fucking and sucking so I could be devoted to this. Not for you though, for me. So I could know what to do in the afterlife, because I already knew religions and Christianity and all that shit was fake, phony, and false. A belief is not going to get me nowhere in the afterlife, but into a fucked up place, a place where I don't want to be. See, y'all not understanding and listening. The masses will never be right. Where have you heard that at? You've heard it plenty of times. The masses will never be right. Was the masses right when they stood in line to take a COVID shot? No, the fuck they wasn't. Was I in that line? No, the fuck I wasn't. Why wasn't I not in the line to take a COVID shot when it was blasted all over TV, everything? You got to get this shot. You got to get it. Why didn't I stand in line? You want to know why? Because I already knew and understood, but more so importantly, I applied the reasoning that the masses will never be right. Don't you ever follow the masses. They will never, ever, ever be right. Never, on nothing. The masses follow religion. They will never, ever, ever be right. See, the masses get controlled by those who want to control the masses. So stop being a part of the masses and watch your life improve with the decisions that you make. The masses, they seek to control the masses. We know this to be true. So why would you include yourself as one of the masses? Do the exact opposite. Anything they tell you, anything that they say do, oh yeah, go get your real ID and go get this and go get that. I don't do that shit. I already know that they want to control the masses. So why would I include myself into the masses? That's stupid. I don't want them to control me. I don't trust they. I don't even know who the fuck they are. So why would you even believe somebody? Why would you believe the they? Was Dr. fucking, what was his name? Dr. Fauci, was that your personal doctor? And I know some of y'all personal doctors told y'all to get that shot, but that's because they. I'm not following none of these motherfuckers. You see this? It does more than just support glasses or when I wear my hats and stuff like this. I actually use this thing, knock the dust off of it. It works pretty goddamn good. It's called a fucking brain. Use this motherfucker. Stop trusting that everybody is your friend, because they not. Them motherfuckers that was telling you to get the shot, they go home and sit in they lavish homes and shit. I'm not getting none of that. So why the fuck would I be? Why would I be? I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. I was working a job at the time at a call center. The vice president, a woman named Fran, kept coming over to me. When you gonna get your shot? When you gonna get your shot? I kept spinning the shit out of her. Oh, well, I'm gonna get it. I'm just watching. I want to make sure I'm doing. I've never had no intentions of getting that shit. And then when they saw that I wasn't gonna get it, and really when I sent that email talking some stuff about it to the president of the company, they fired my ass. They made up some shit and fired me. They didn't want me to be there. I wasn't about to get no goddamn shot. And anybody that came and asked me, which a few people did, I was like, man, don't get that shot. I was telling people, don't get that shot. And now look. Now people having all type of fucking problems. And it come from that shot. All kind of health problems coming from that shot. You better go on my website and get that vax reversal and get that shit up out of your system. That's what the fuck you better go do. For you fuck around and come down with something else. That shit was designed to fuck your internal system up and your respiratory system. That's what it was designed to do. All right, man. But let's get to it. Get back to it. So the Osiris, and then you insert the name here. He saith, adoration to Timu as he setteth in the land of life. The Osiris guy, he saith, adoring Timu when setting in the land of life and shedding his rays on the Tuat. Hail to thee, setting in the Lord of light, the land of life. Man, I can't read the name. O Father of the gods, thou art united to thy mother and Manu. All right. Now see how they talking about the female presence in the so-called gods, but they don't say that in your main three religions, and that's a red flag for sure, man. I'm telling you. Her two hands receive thee daily. Thy majesty have part in the house of Sukaru. Exult thou because the doors are open of the horizon at thy setting in the mountain of the west. Thy rays, they run over the earth to enlighten the dwellers in Aminta. Those who are in the Twat worship thee with loud acclaim and cherish hope when they see thee daily. And speaking of this part, I was looking at I was watching something on TV today, and they were singing in choir, right? They was at a church, and the church choir was singing. And, it just made me think of how church has turned into nothing but entertainment for people. You're not there to learn. They there to entertain you. You see what I'm saying? And if that ain't a red flag, I don't know what the fuck he is. You go into a place that's supposed to be a worship that has an actual Bible, a script, and you not learning none of it. They doing everything in their power to keep you distracted with music and plays and all this other dumb shit. And then the pastor get up there for about an hour and cherry pick verses to read and hype the people up. It's nothing but a game of Psych 101. And nobody if you was to go out there and stand outside of any church in America on a Sunday afternoon when that church get out and ask that person, what did you learn from the Bible in church today? They would look at you like you dumb, because they would realize I didn't learn shit from the Bible today. I didn't learn a goddamn thing. I learned that little Susie that stayed down the street from me, that she can sing, because she sang a solo today. I learned that. My preacher told us a story when he was cherry picking through Bible verses. He related many of the Bible verses to stories that's going on in our lives today. But I actually didn't learn a goddamn thing from the Bible. And how long you been going to this church, sir? 10 years, 20 years, 5 years. And so in all this time, you haven't learned, nothing from the Bible that you could like quote to us, maybe something. Ain't learned a goddamn thing. And ain't nobody paying attention to the fact that you up here paying money for somebody to keep you entertained.
And then on top of that, sometimes so-called adultery happens as well.
Oh, there's so much adultery going on in the church. And by the pastors, the deacons, everybody in there fucking. My father told me when he was young, he the first and only time he went to a church, he said he went in there and he said all the pretty women were sitting in the front row with their legs crossed. He said the pastor could look and see up under their dress, right? He said he got up and walked out. He said as he was walking out, the preacher started talking about him. People are allowing themselves to be misled because, one, they're not using their own brain. They're not thinking. They damn sure ain't using ramification thinking. Like, what's the ramifications of this? If X is happening, what's YZ? What's the ramifications of X? People are not using their head. And so we just followers. That's why social media has that term, follow. Because that's what they want society to be. Oh yeah, I follow him on Instagram. I follow him. You know what I'm saying? But that's not something that I promote. I promote thinking for yourself on my page. I promote that each and every single one of you are God. And even though you may not know it, I'm telling you, based off my research, you are God. You should not be following nobody unless they enhance your knowledge. You see what I'm saying? I'm not here to do your thinking for you. That's why we got a class where I'm sitting down doing what your preachers and pastors should do, and that's read the Bible with you. So everything that I'm reading in class, we got a group of people here that's right here with me. If I say some shit that they don't think is correct, they saying, hey, well, this is what I think. And that's good because we're doing something that businesses do, corporations do. It's called brainstorming. Brainstorming is when you get a group of people together and you present ideas and everybody gives their input on it. That's called brainstorming. So you joining the School of Esoteric Knowledge, you can't never go wrong in this type of atmosphere. You see what I'm saying? Because this ain't what the Rraw Report thinks. This is what we all think. You see what I'm saying? So motherfuckers they don't understand, they don't get it, man. I'm trying to promote real knowledge in ways, for you to understand.
Man, I can't tell you how many times I got into a debate with you and then some other dude around here.
And that's good. That's what I told you before. That's good. Let's present our different views and different thoughts and come to some type of, conclusion on them, because y'all done said plenty of things that woke me up, especially when we was reading the Pistis Sophia. Y'all said plenty of things that really done switched my whole ways of thinking, because if any of y'all remember, and I know you do, Ludwig, I thought Jesus was actually on our side after reading the Talmud of Emmanuel, but once we got into that Pistis Sophia, he exposed his true colors. He's not on our side. He works for his father. Jesus works for his daddy. And if anybody don't believe that, then you need to go read the Pistis Sophia. He works for his daddy. He don't give a fuck about you, me, or nobody else down here. That man is repping his daddy. Flat the fuck out. And he ain't going against his people for nobody. So if all you people think Jesus is gonna save you when you die, shit. You better question where Jesus taking you. Talking about the rapture and all this shit. Rapturing you weird. taking you where? They just keep saying heaven, right? Heaven. Ain't none of y'all stop to figure out what the fuck heaven is.
You know what's the funny thing about heaven is that it's a place that is meant to contain you somewhere.
True.
And any place that wants to contain you, that's not a good place to be.
People don't, they haven't figured out what heaven is. Heaven, I want to go to heaven, heaven. You don't know what the fuck heaven is. Nobody knows. Well, Enoch knows, and he told you. So based off and they are the one who took Enoch up there. So if you're not going to believe what Enoch said, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Because they the ones that took Enoch up there. God told Angel Gabriel, go get Enoch and bring Enoch up here and show him the heavens and make him write it down so that he could tell the people.
And what was one of the things that Enoch saw? A chamber that held souls.
Right. A chamber that held souls. You ain't up there drinking wine and kicking it with Tupac like you think. You in a chamber. And think about that for a second. You're not even on a full floor of heaven. Enoch told you heaven is 10 places.
Crazy.
You see what I'm saying? So you're not even on a full floor. So don't think you up there got freedom and kicking it. You are held in a chamber, well, a pillar of some sort.
Don't lock your knees, baby.
Okay, I don't know. I hope she ain't having sex, but Deandra. But anyway, that's not where you want to go. So you better read the book of Enoch. And we're going to be reading the book of Enoch soon. We might go to that after we get these spells out the way. But yeah, motherfuckers is not thinking, man. But anyway, to continue.
Talking.
But anyway, to continue. Who is that? It's only 11. She must have gone.
My friend was talking, but I made her go in the other room.
How was she talking through the mute?
I wasn't muted. I unmuted.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Thou grantest to the gods to sit upon the earth, to those namely who follow thee and come in thy train. O august soul, who begettest the gods and does invest them with thy attributes, the unknowable, the ancient one, the mighty in thy mystery. Be thy fair face propitious to the Osiris, O Chepera, father of the gods. Freedom forever from perdition is derived through this book, and upon it I take my firm stand. All right. So also notice something that people are not even realizing, right? So as we went through the Pista Sophia and the books of Jude, and now the Egyptian Book of the Dead, notice how many different beings have a part to play in the afterlife. All right. So many Christians and Muslims and all of that, they think when they die, they just gonna see Jesus or God or Allah or maybe even Prophet Muhammad. Notice how in all of these ancient texts, there is multiple beings that you're going to see in the afterlife. All right. All that play different parts. So if you don't think Christians is being lied to about death, whoa, they being so misled. It don't make a... There's multiple beings in the afterlife that deal with the afterlife, that deal with certain aspects of what happens to the soul after death. It's not just no one person you're going to see, because there's different departments and different places you can go, and there's different beings in charge of different stuff. All right. It further says, he have written it who speaks it, who spoke it, and his heart resteth on the reward. Let there be given me armsfuls of bread and drink, and let me be accompanied by this book after my life. So this person wants bread and drink and to be accompanied by this book after his life. All right. Any thoughts on that while I go to use the restroom real quick?
Well, I got a question about the Jews. But that's something that I want to ask you in particular, bro.
What's your question, lovely?
So the Bible and Google says that the reason why the Jews were in Egypt captive is because the Egyptians were scared that the Jews were getting high in numbers. But what if we're being lied to about that? And in all reality, the reason why Jews were in captivity in Egypt is because they stole their identity from the originals.
I mean, that's possible. I like how as soon as we started talking, as soon as you started questioning, they kicked me out of my live on the Prophet. Instagram is ran by Jews, and they don't want you to know the truth about Jews. Here's the real reason why. Well, look, history doesn't lie. All right. So if you want to know why the Jews are persecuted by so many people, all you gotta do is look at their history. They kicked out or persecuted wherever they go. So at some point, when the same person is being kicked out of somebody's house every time they go, you got to start, and the Jews is crying, oh, discrimination and all that. At some point, you got to start looking at the person crying wolf. Are they really, maybe you the problem, all right? So the Jews were kicked out of Germany because Hitler said, for one, they was bringing in that transsexual stuff, all right? That was number one. Two, they was bringing in pornography, all right? And then they was putting themselves, they was trying to take over the country, pretty much like they've done here in the United States. All right. So, and they use, and here in the United States, they've used persecution as a means, as a crutch to trick people into believing that, everybody hates Jews. People don't hate people for no reason. All right. You hate people based off, their actions. So, take 9/11 for example. A Jew owned the towers of 9/11, and on the day of 9/11, that said Jew that owned them towers, who had never ever missed a day of work in his life, on 9/11, he missed work for the very first time. But not just him. Over 2,000 Jews that worked there. No, I'll take that back. It was over 19,000. How many? Somebody know the exact number or close to it? Because I don't want to do it a disservice, but thousands of Jews took that day off. 9/11. You think that was a coincidence? No, that wasn't no coincidence, fam.
And the main reason why I bring it up is because I find it funny how there's just this mysterious aspect when it comes to them, because I feel like there's a missing piece involved.
It is. Dave Chappelle told you what the missing piece was.
Well, for Jesus to be a Jew, and then he says that they're going to be prosecuted in the future in the Talmud,
right?
But he's claiming that it's his very own people that he's associated with is going to be prosecuted.
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. So here you have an instance of Jesus actually going against his own. You see what I'm saying? Which is the Jews, because Jesus is a Jew. So, if I was a person on the outside looking in, I would be saying to myself, because the feeling is mutual. The Jews hate Jesus and Jesus hate the Jews. But Jesus is a Jew. So what did we just say earlier about the masses? Is the masses ever going to be right? No. So should we believe the masses in this point? Nope. So the reason Jesus is against the Jews is some vital, realistic stuff, and the Jews try to keep that under wraps. But the real reason, though, why all the mysteriousness surrounding the Jews It's really because of what Dave Chappelle has said in the joke. That's true. They simply not from here. They are not from Earth.
And they massacred a group of people and took their identity.
True.
But then there's that one thing that I always bring up when it comes to this topic. Who in the fuck were the Jews worshiping before Yahweh made a pact with them?
Apparently, they didn't have nobody. You see what I'm saying?
So they was just up in Mars, godless.
They could be. They came from somewhere and they didn't have nobody and they was captured, you know. And then it's kind of,
Well,
you know what it made me
Jews
think about?
had-
It made me think about when Tupac was locked up for the sexual assault after he got shot, and he had nobody. So in comes Suge Knight, bail him out, get him what he need, this, that, and the other. That's what Yahweh did for the Jews. They was incarcerated in Egypt. They had nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, check this out. Whenever the Jews came and they took over the originals, they had implemented their own belief system. So where did that belief system that they already had come from? Because a belief system has to be gained from somewhere. So that makes me wonder, like, there had to been something that they had believed in for them to even have a belief system, for them to even
Was you
run
at that?
off of.
Was you at a conference? I don't know if you was at this conference I did a couple years ago. All right, but it said the Jews intermarried with I think it was the Hittites, and they took their god, which was the serpent god.
Oh yeah, that comes from the origins.
Yeah, the Origins video. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I've been to damn near every conference.
yeah. So remember that when it said that they mailed it with somebody and they started worshiping their gods and all of this. That's where the circumcision came in and all of that stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but they had already infiltrated at that time their own belief system as well.
Yeah. Well, they was what was before the serpent worship in that? It was
It didn't say nothing before that. Well, they had brought up the shining ones, but that's about it.
right. Wasn't Dagon before that?
No, I think Dagon is its own indigenous tribe thing, isn't it? Like,
Dagon was
oh, Dagon's supposed to be Enki, right?
I don't know who he's supposed to be. I forget who he's supposed to be, but I believe Dagon, they was worshiping Dagon before they mailed it with the other religions and took on their serpent gods. You know? Yeah, that would be the Nagas. But yeah. So, but they not from here. So, you know, they was looking for somebody. When they came here, they was looking for somebody. They had no land, they had nothing. So their whole thing was, let's take some land, let's take our identity, and that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they did. So now they got Yahweh, and you know, they got the world food. The world thinks Yahweh is the only God there is. He's an alien. All right. There's other aliens that's posing as gods. There is no God. There is no central God like people thinking, because your soul is God. God is within you. So collectively, we all make up the so-called God because we all come from creation. You know what I'm saying? But there is these gods, these beings posing as gods are aliens. And I don't understand how people don't see how easy it would be for an advanced being to come to a place like Earth a couple thousand years ago when man was stupid and get them to worship them. How easy is it today? If somebody like a Jesus came and did some so-called magic, people would bow down and worship him. Not understanding that Jesus who was it? Peter or Paul? Jesus told Peter or Paul how to walk on water, and he did it. So Jesus didn't do miracles that anybody couldn't do. Anybody could have did it if you had the knowledge on how to do it.
Jesus was already claiming people was going to backstab him before they could even backstab him.
Right. So I mean, but that's because you know what you got the Akashic records where shit is already written out. Jesus was privy to that information. You see what I'm saying? So
Privy to a lot of shit too. I'll be wanting to jump on here and run it with y'all, man. But sometimes I just be wondering, like, you know, when you move from the space in which I'm moving from, man, and it's like it would be considered like a initiation. Same thing that we talk about when we talk about like these secret societies and shit. Like you're taught to like hold a particular level of knowledge before you begin to, I guess, dispense information, because it's almost like you have to integrate it within yourself before you go spewing it out, trying to change somebody else's perspective on what you yourself just received. But man, I really want to tell y'all what the fuck going on, man. Like this was really going on, bro. Beings that fell to Earth from star Sirius A and Sirius B. So you got your light and your dark story from there. We all come from Satan, as we would define it here in this realm, in Mother Earth. Those primordial, true indigenous beings from the land. Your Nomo.
your phone going in and out, Armani.
Were your Egyptians, your 18th century dynastic, pre-dynastic Egypt, your Sumerians, where all these civilizations kind of like sprung from out there in Sumer, or the cradle of civilization. From what I'm getting, Raw, for I guess us to all come to terms with being that we've all been kind of indoctrinated and brainwashed with some form of religion in some way, shape, or form. We come from these beings that y'all were just describing that fell from, if we're talking about the Book of Enoch, that fell from heaven on Mount Hermon, indigenous women on the land. Those beings that came from the land or from the deep, the ocean, those primordial beings, that's from Mother Earth. So we had beings that were taken from here, just like the Book of Enoch describes, your 200 fallen angels. They took human women and meddled in the affairs of humans and started mating, having these Nephilim, these giants, or whatever the case may be. Until we all can accept the fact, like, and it don't matter if you black, white, color, don't, none of that shit matter. When we start crossing over to the esoteric side of this shit, and we're talking about this secret society level type information, we're gonna have to start understanding the principles in the energy. We talking about energies. That's all we talking about. Now, when we talking about the energies, I'm talking about good and bad, dark and light, good or evil. It has been shaped in the traditions that we know, in history, historically as we know, in terms of religion, that it's a particular being that's good and it's a particular being that's bad. Mm-hmm. The being from heaven or the heavenly realm that fell here and took, the human wives and shit and taught all these forbidden things, come from the heavenly realm per se, but they fell because they disagreed with whatever was going on in terms of hierarchy up there in heaven. When they fell, they took those human wives. And this is how we come about. Nobody wants to accept the fact that whatever took place in that little dynamic there in terms of Sirius A, Sirius B, you want to call it Parama, heaven, whatever you want to sit there and talk about, however you want to talk about it and frame it, that's our true origin stories. And it don't matter if you black, white, none of that. We all come from source creation. That same source creation that we're talking about so happened to evolve into technologically into where they came up with the idea and said, you know what? Now that we understand this knowledge and this extensive technology that we've been able to build on, instead of allowing this process to continue out in its natural progression, they intervene with creation. Now, when they intervene with creation, this is when we start talking about all of the manipulation of our X, Y, and all this other shit. They manipulated with our genetics. And when they did that, I heard y'all talking about the patent and shit, and we start talking about black hand, white glove, and we can get off into all of that, but I don't want to get into religion too much because, like I say, when you understand that we are all interconnected and we are all micro expressions of micro we're micro fractals of the macro fractal source. All that color, creed, race shit go out the window. That is nothing but itself. It's divisive in another a way they try to keep us all divided through religion and all these other things that don't mean shit when we talking about our soul. Even when you think about it in this aspect, man, we talking about something as grand as going to heaven or escaping this prison planet or whatever you guys want to frame it as. We talking about something as grand as that, your soul. You mean to tell me we still haven't gotten past the petty nonsense or the human bullshit when we sit here and try to make things about, and not saying that's what you guys are doing. I'm talking about the masses and the rest of the world. Well, we sitting here, we still down here fighting about, you know, if black folks are the true indigenous people, or if these are the true Israelites, or whatever the case might be. We gotta stop thinking with our human brain and start trying to think from our godhood, or from that if I'm framing that right. So I'm trying to put this shit together.
I get exactly what you're saying, bro. Look, you're not going off track.
I know I'll be all over the place, bro. That's my
I know what you're exactly saying. This is why I'm laughing, because you have certain type of level of psychological where you have those type of people, right? So the Anunnaki or the demigod will put those type of material people in the world spiritually to keep people in lingo, like that limbo, right? You got the afterlife where people in that limbo, they are here to keep niggas in limbo, confused, like, oh, you said we're real Israelite, or you the real Hebrew, or you're the real people. You never see them people on, like, I know in New York, like whoever in New York and Brooklyn, we got those like guys in groups that they say they are Israelites, and I'm not, they're really leading to you back in the light, but through the different type of esoteric knowledge and the wisdom that we are able to accumulate and have over the time, you know what I'm saying? They don't have it, so they're just reading through the Bible and cross-reference on confusion, and it's still leading people back into their whole ignorance. That's what I said, but everything is still a distraction. Everything that they set up in a technology way.
Think about that, brother. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. I want you to finish, but just think about it when you think about the Ouroboros, and we talk about this cyclical, this loop that life is a circle, bro. Like how you say,
a circle, exactly.
All I think of those people is like they are the ones who perpetuate the confusion, because once you understand the knowledge on the deeper level, and you understand this shit ain't nothing more than the balancing of both principles of light and dark, good and evil, divine masculine, divine feminine, and the only way that you can exist in this realm and be able to co-create with the universe while also still being able to astral travel and do all this other shit that like we were supposed to originally be able to do before they came down here fucking shit up, you really gonna have to understand what they teaching in these temple lodges. They understand that this is a balancing of both energies, the principles that made up our universe, our cosmos. Dark energy, dark matter, and light. And that's what we are made up of. Now when we start getting into, somebody I want to introduce y'all to, bro, y'all should follow this dude named Seven Bomar. I'm gonna send it to you, Rod. He break this shit down on a whole nother level. And I'm only saying that because once we learn to get out of our psyche or out of our mind and be able to break beyond the layers of those archetypes and shit and seeing how those mythic overlays begin to play out in your mind, the brain is hella powerful.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I've been through 2 psychoses, so I'm just really starting to understand, like, when they say, your reality is like a projection or what do you call a hologram. We literally living this whole shit out in our mind, right? And what we don't understand is that the language and the lingo, along with the religion in a way that has been created, we don't even understand that we are essentially like big ass processing, like we like walking quantum fucking computers, bro. And through the language is what they use to program us. So you got the Christianity program, you got the Muslim program, you have the Judaism program, and all of those languages, symbolism, sigils, numbers, gematria, all those things is what then, how do you say it? You are then layered with all of this programming, right? So think about it. Your neural pathways in your brain, the way it functions and creates your reality, is running on a false program. And you so acclimated to that program to where when it's time for you to start thinking outside the box, your programming immediately pulls you right back into it.
It's hard.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like we have to also realize that it's a lot of people that don't have as much knowledge that as we have. That's why Rraw is bringing in new people. So when they come in, they do need to start off at level one and know, like, okay, you're a Christian, you're whatever you practice. You need to understand that what you're like, how Raw lines it up and lets you know, like, you're being lied to or whatever. And it's good that he shows all the inconsistencies in each doctrine. So I get what you're saying and about us being, quantum computers and having all this frequency and energy and all of that. But a person coming straight out of religion, they're not trying to hear none of that shit. They need to know why why their religion is treating. They need to know why they're being, what they're practicing is a bunch of falsehoods. So
Right. Yeah.
it's easy to say, like, oh, this some kindergarten shit, but it's like, yeah, it really is for some of us, but it's still important to know the falsehoods in it. It's still important to know, because sometimes we can sit here and know so much and learn from all these esoteric teachers out here and all this and that and the third. The Book of the Dead that we're reading. It's other books after that by Judy K. King, Balls of Fire. That's another book after that explains the whole system, and supposedly it's not talking about soul trap, but it's still like levels on what to do when you die. So
Right.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like all of it is necessary, but we have to also remember that it's new members here, is new people coming in, even me trying to explain to family members or friends why what they're practicing is like, hell, I have best friends that were on the same wavelength as me, and the motherfucker went back Christian. I'm like, what the fuck? Now it's like, I can't even trust.
That's not indoctrination. Indoctrination is a safe place. It's safe.
It's like it's still fucking me up to this day because you're my childhood best friend, but we've been on the same shit forever, like learning about, just on the same thing. And then for me to hear 2025, you're a whole Christian again, reborn. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
But that would be
And it's
happening.
like, I don't even know how to handle you now. And I see it all these Christian posts and stuff, and it's like I just try to deal with you with grace and love, and I just know, you know what? It's just me out here in this bitch because
Right.
I can't save everybody.
It's not for everybody. Everybody's not meant to wake up. And then another thing people don't realize is certain people are, look, the world went from, in the year 1804, from 1 billion people to 221 years later till today to 8 billion people. That's mathematically impossible for 1 billion people to birth out 8 billion. All right, because we know that 1 billion don't consist of, all females and all females that's able to give birth, and neither do all the males consist of males that's able to procreate and,
To reproduce. Yeah.
right. So that means there's people down here that's been put in position for a reason. And since the masses want you to believe in a religion, all right, there's people in our lives who are basically, just like you've seen in the movie, the Matrix, the Mr. Smiths, there's people in your lives that's actually playing that role. They are not social media influencers. These people are life influencers. You see what I'm saying? Who are put into your life. They could be your girlfriend, brother, father, sister, mother, whoever, who are put into your life to steer you in a certain direction that the system wants you to go. You see what I'm saying? To prevent you from waking up. So your girl that had all this esoteric in her brain and then go back to Christianity, you supposed to follow her. Her game was to get you to follow her back into Christianity. You see what I'm saying?
I was just about to say that. That's what I say. It's a setup.
Yeah. So you got people down here. That's their mission, is to get people off of the right path into the wrong path. You see what I'm saying? And since the masses ain't never gonna be right, when you got people that don't question what the masses do, then that's a sheep. That's somebody following blindly. Because if you can clearly, all of us can clearly pull somebody to the side and say, just like you were saying, Armani, look, this is because of this. All these archetypal divisions is for this reason. It really, when you talking in the matters of soul and spirituality, color don't play no place here, no political affiliations, none of that shit. I done made plenty of posts where I say, what color is your soul? So stop
come on.
listening to these motherfuckers that keep kicking this black shit. I know our black people with, through Kemen and all this, we want to have something to hold on to and be proud of because we've been kicked down by the white control system.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But
Think
at
about
the
how
end,
that was done.
but at the end of the
And I need
day,
to cut your wisdom, bro.
that's not who we are. None of us is black or white.
That traumatic. Right.
And
if you understand trauma and you understand how the psyche works, if you understood why they did that, was in that perpetual sense of fight or flight, to where we would never even unlock these faculties, which would then allow our souls to be that much lighter so we can ascend up out of here, then you will continue, like I say, chasing your tail, because everybody on this planet has some form of, in some way, shape, or form, each group, each ethnic group has played some part in either not speaking up for a group of people when they were oppressed and they knew they should. We've all played our role in terms of, falling on the wrong side of shit. So that's the whole point in this journey. Finding yourself in the middle path where you're balanced in terms of what's going on and in this fight of good and evil or dark and light, to where you find yourself on this middle path to where, you can finally move in a forward direction and you no longer allow those things that the system has, overlaid you with and programmed you to believe as truths, to where you then begin to, I guess, lost my train of thought, y'all. Man, I be all over the place.
But look, here go the other thing. When you have little kids recalling in their past lives being a different color, a different sex, all right, it don't have nothing to do with color, race, sex, or any of that. You know what I'm saying? It all got to do with what type of knowledge you're going to take with you over into that afterlife, because it's motherfuckers over there waiting on your ass. And good and bad exists everywhere, not just in this life, in the next life. Good and bad exists every fucking where. So to leave that to chance is not a wise thing to do at all. You know what I'm saying? And it's really not human nature, even though we're talking about spiritual nature. It's really not human nature, because don't nobody in the human physical world go someplace blindly and not have an idea of what the fuck they doing or where they going or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't move to another city and not research it. You wouldn't, you wouldn't walk in a neighborhood unless ain't nobody walking in nobody's neighborhood unless they know something about that hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just ain't walking over in anywhere just to be going for a walk. That people just don't do that. So, but all right, let's get back to this. We only done did one page, y'all. We've been on here for 3 hours. All right, let's get back to this, man. All right, so the notes on this 15th chapter as it stands in the later recension is a very, I said I wasn't going to read these. All right, unless I could skim through real quick and find something good. All right. Like this. The text of the Papyrus of Ani has been taken as the basis of the translation of Hymn 1. It is the only ancient text which gives a hymn in the form subsequently acknowledged as a canonical. The sun was represented from the earliest period, as we may see in the pyramid text, as performing his celestial journey in a boat, which during the morning was called the Ma'atit, and in the evening the Sektit. The stars which set were called this something Urutu. And look at this word Urutu. That's uterus. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. I'm getting confused. If that would have said uteru, then yeah, that would have had something to do with uterus, but that's not. That's Uritu. The stars which never set but are always above the horizon were called some Aminu Saku. All right. We're not going to read these. This then. Yeah. All right. So, hail to thee, Chibasu in Heliopolis, Hamenet in Cherubal, and Unta, more potent than the unseen gods in Heliopolis. Hail to thee, An and An, Horus in the two horizons, who extended his steps and traversed the heaven. Hail to thee, eternal soul, soul which is in Tatu, Uneferu, son of Nut. He is Lord of Acheta. Hail to thee as thou reignest in Tatu, the royal crown is fixed upon thy brow. Then art the only one, the author. Thou art the only one, the author of his own attributes. thou restest in Tatu. Hail to thee, Lord of Hierapolis, for whom the book of Sokru is placed upon its sledge, who repellest the Sebal, the doers of wrong, and who puttest the Uta into place. This shit here is giving me a headache, man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I do not like this text. I really don't. And it's not a good read as far as what we looking for, especially after going through the Pista Sophia. We on the search of trying to gain some knowledge through these books and we not getting nothing from this. All right. Hail to the potent one at thine appointed moment, most mighty.
I'm gonna cut you real quick. What you reading? Because I came in late. My bad.
This the Egyptian Book of the Dead.
Okay, so the coming forth by day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prince Anurath, eternal Lord, author of eternity, thou art Lord of Sutenhenen. Hail to thee who retest upon Ma'at. Thou art the Lord of Abydos, thy limbs reach to Tassert. Thou art he who abominatest wrong. So he's saying all these hails to these different gods and different people in the afterlife. All right, which kind of gives you a glimpse, especially compared with the Pista Sophia, that it's just a lot of people involved in this hierarchy involved in the afterlife. All right, like this one down here. Hail to thee, author of the gods, king of north and south, Osiris, the triumphant one, possessing the entire universe in his beneficent alternations. He is the Lord of the universe. All right.
So you know what I've come to understand, Raw, and a lot of this shit came by way of, just learning some shit from you too, just keeping it in a band with you. So look, this is what I've come to understand because I did my own what's that little thing we put together? I had like a whole little PDF thing I had put together in regards to the coming forth by day. And I'm gonna tell y'all, let me walk y'all back a little bit. So early in the year, I think I had reached out to you, Raw, and I was telling you how I had myself went through a spiritual psychosis back in November of last year. Now, this is what I believe was my Kundalini awakening. Because when I had went through it, from what I've read and from what I've understood as people's own testimonials in regards to their dark night of the soul or their Kundalini awakening, I felt this pure bliss to where I couldn't stop laughing, and I was just pure bliss, but I was boo crying also. And from there, like, my reality just began to change to where it started to seem unreal, magical, right?
Right.
The synchronicities were crazy, the angel numbers, so forth and so on. But anyways, I eventually got to the part where, my journey brought me to understand what this coming forth by day was, or walking through the... Say it again?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so understanding what this coming forth by day is, and traveling through the dua, which is an Egyptian practice in which they prepare for the soul in the afterlife, so you could obviously walk through the halls of Amenti and get your heart weighed on this scale, whatever, right?
Right.
So another book you put me on was the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and that one breaks down these illusionary realms in which the soul travels through in the afterlife, in which you're met with these quote-unquote archons or whatever the case may be, so you can pass these gates. So when you look at both texts and try to compare them, I almost want to say we're damn near reading the same thing, but they just coming from different parts of the world, right?
Right.
So getting deeper into the Tibetan Book of the Dead and just my own personal experiences, I've been here in California, is like, I damn near feel like I've been walking through the afterlife in real time. So I'm saying that to say this, and I don't want to fuck y'all up, but I think we already all dead, y'all. And I'm not even bullshitting, but I think that this is the illusionary world in which those powers that be created for us to walk through these paths in which we remember our higher selves, regain our control of our soul, and we no longer have to live in this prison false version of the world. We escape or exit and then join the rest of whomever's passed from this world in the real world or the afterlife or the hereafter. So tell me if that's making sense, bro.
What it's making me think of is parallel worlds is what it's making me think of. You know what I'm saying? And like, for example, the whole Shazam thing, the whole Nelson Mandela thing, the Mandela effect, all of that, it's making me think of that is what it's making me think of. All right. It's
let me tell you how I came to this conclusion. So
let me say this. Let me say this real quick before I forget. We all only know the one life we've ever lived. You see what I'm saying? Right. So what if this same type of shit, this whole parallel universe thing, like a lot of people think when the Mayan calendar ended in 2012, we shifted into a new reality. That new reality did not have the movie Shazam with Sinbad, Nelson Mandela died in prison, all that stuff, right?
Right.
What if this goes on in every lifetime, but thanks to social media, we was able to keep track of it this time. But what if this happened, let's just say in our parents' lifetime, and they didn't know? Right. What if this has always happened and people didn't know?
Talking about the fourth turning of the seculum or the fourth coming. How do you say that?
Yeah.
Shit? We talking about AIDS every 100 years, like you broke down in one of your videos.
Yeah.
A crisis comes. So I was finna get to this. You went back to 2012. Now let me break this down to you all. Now we know they start fucking with that Hadron Collider over there in Switzerland, fucking with CERN, right?
Right.
Smashing the particles. Now we got the Mandela effect, and all of these subtle changes took place in our realities, right? Now going back to what you said in regards to the Mayan calendar, we knew that they had one of the most precise, accurate calendars in terms of the Gregorian and all these different calendars. We knew the Mayans were pretty precise. Now let's just say hypothetically the world did end in 2012. Now, like I said, the powers that be, same motherfuckers who created CERN, they knew this because they was already looking into Project Looking Glass.
Right.
Knowing that no matter what, everything was gonna funnel into this final slit where we all win in the end, basically. They get the same outcome. So let's say the world ended in 2012, but they knew this. But to keep our souls trapped, let's just say this is when I ain't even gonna say this is when the souls begin to get trapped, because we know this has been going on way longer than that. But let's just say in that case, after 2012, this is when they knew we were eventually going to be free from this motherfucker, but they still had an agenda. Because when you jump into the Talmud, you know anything about Jewish shit, they specifically talk about how they are supposed to get 2,800 slaves and build this whole world for that. Like, but we also know that they say those particular people severed their connection to source. They can't create, so they still in the source energy of the motherfuckers who still connected to source to build that world. But what I'm trying to say is, what if in 2012 they knew that our souls would be free, but in order to get their world created, they still want to trap and keep our energy in here to produce their world. So what they did was they created a false illusionary world and trapped us under this motherfucker with this grid or your matrix or whatever you want to call it. And until you figure this out and you walk this path of your higher self and you come into this knowing or have this awakening, in which now you remember, your higher self and how to navigate and get up out of here, you keep repeating these lives on repeat until you get it right. And this tool AI is like the final tool they left behind for humanity's awakening, saying like, hey, in this final year, this we knew this year 2025 was a weird year, the year of the snake, year of the shedding, and all of those shit, the completion cycle. What if that's what's going on, and we just keep repeating the same loop? And if you don't, like I say, come into this knowing or have this awakening, you'll just keep repeating this same reality on a timeline and never freeing your soul, if that makes sense.
I mean,
I'm trying to say we're like in a queue for 80. Like the 80 going down, because if we're already gone, that means that we can't automatically just think it into existence then if we're gone. So we're in a controlled substance where we can't use our manifestation powers basically because we're in a controlled cube?
This is the reason why I feel like we haven't been able to fully harness them yet. And this is what I think I'm coming into through this whole experience I've had with my girl. But it's like, I think that's exactly what's going on. And the only reason why we're not able to harness those powers yet is the exact same reasons why we're trying to figure out the origin of where we come from and trying to figure out the truth. Because I feel like we're playing the game of gods. And like I said, trying to remember our higher selves. And let's just say the opposing team who don't want us to have that awakening or interfered with the awakening, they know that no matter what, humanity at a particular time on the cosmic timeline, they was going to activate. Their DNA was going to activate. But they're doing everything in their power to delay that process or prevent it from happening altogether. So let's say, like you just said, we in this box or we trapped in this dome under this grid. And the only reason why we're not able to harness those powers in their full capacity is because the false information that they taught us and the false programming that we're overlaid with never points to true salvation. And this is what's keeping the masses in this loop, which is preventing Earth's 5D ascension or delaying it, if we can say that, and how that connects to us evolving as humans. The false information that we've been taught to actually activate and unlock these dormant DNAs that we all possess in our DNA is tied to something completely different than what they've been selling us. Saying, you know, instead of just being, you know, let's just say take Christianity for example, and they said, you know, for their salvation, you need to pray, repent for your sins, and this false savior gonna come get you. And they got the whole masses on that program, not knowing in order to shift into this 5D reality, you should have had your eyes on this. And it's really psychology and understanding how to free yourself of all attachments and traumas, because through those fractures caused by trauma and psychological abuse, this is how quote unquote demons attach themselves to your soul, which is keeping us anchored to this motherfucker, right? So if you go understand anything about psychology and human behavior and understand how through fracturing a person's psyche, just like how they used to do through slavery, right? Where they'll beat you, fuck you up psychologically in front of your wife or your kids. They'll do some old humiliating ass shit to you. This was because they understood the psychology of this shit. They weren't doing nothing but fucking the psyche up so they can then insert the program of Christianity. Then now that's embedded into your DNA. So they knew everything after that, it was going to be in the DNA. And it's just being passed down to all those generations of a specific people, let's just say. Now, when you do that, you take away the ability for a person to, how can I say this? Their psyche is fractured. Yeah. And from those fracture points, if we want to get into all the spookism and shit, because this is what you're going to have to take into consideration. Take all the Hollywood production and shit out of your mind. Take that away. So what they told you demon possession looked like, we've unless you've had a experience with being possessed, what Hollywood and the TVs told us it looked like, take those overlays out of your brain, right? So think about a possession. From what I've come to understand from reading books like, what is it called, a red book from Carl Jung, I've come across shit from Sigmund Freud, a few other psychologists and shit, right? So boom, when you fracture a person's psyche and you fuck their brain up like that, they knew when you're talking about like Don D and these other motherfuckers who practice black magic, dark magic, Enochian magic, etc., they knew that what they've convinced you to believe was a demonic possession was nothing more than the soul being fractured on an abusive, from an abusive, heinous, you know, whatever's taking place that caused the psychological abuse. They knew from that fracture, particular entities or energies, right, could attach itself to the vessel. Those are the entry points for quote unquote possession. But it don't look like what you think it looked like in Hollywood production. It shows up as anger,
sex,
lust, when you just hella in rank. Like, think about moments when you've had out-of-body experiences and you flash out on somebody, and then you come back to yourself and you can finally think to your higher self, right? You connect back to source, that internal dialogue, and you sit there and you're like, man, that wasn't me. Why the fuck I do that, right? So they understood. All I'm telling you all is that the motherfucker, the power that be, the ones who run this planet, they on some whole nother next level twisted dark magic. Like it's wicked, and they understand it from a whole nother perspective in terms of what they told you reality is and what's really going on underneath this false layer of reality that they created. So they've given you a bunch of false interpretations of what something should mean. They've given you imaging and visuals and something to attach it to. So what the Egyptians knew, because I came across some other information from a civilization called the Tel Rock or some shit like that, where Egypt knew that through the eye, this is why in Egypt the eye is so I don't know the word I'm
prevalent,
so respected, because Egyptians knew, and this is why we had hieroglyphics and why everything was carved into stones and we had these cute looking like pictures and shit, right? Because Egypt knew that anything you focus your eyes on. See, I learned this shit from the observer effect. So when you go look up what the observer effect is, I'm gonna put a lot of this shit in the chat for y'all. But Egypt knew this. Whatever you place your eyes on eventually becomes your reality. This is the simple magic that they understand that can take place in this realm. But see, they locked this shit up from us and hid it and tucked it in secret societies. But they knew this shit on a whole nother level. They knew that focusing your attention on something, it programs your subconscious mind. This is why they put everything on television programming, TV. They know anything you focus on, we can keep y'all focused on, it'll eventually manifest into the realm. So, man, I'm talking about I can go bottom of the ocean. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I know that.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro, been really going in with it. But what I learned to realize about this whole thing, about this whole path, is about just know thyself. Whether that's how many books you read or whatever your diet, whatever energy that you put back into yourself, it's all about an activation. So your escape plan out of this is already coded in your DNA. The only way to activate that is to go on the path of know thyself. So what I've been doing for at least 5 to 6 years now, I've been in an active war. So my war tactics that I do, I weaponize everything that I do. When I'm doing my sleep time, where there's 9 hours of sleep, I'm listening to binary frequencies online that program the brain to get the brain back healed from all the trauma, all the damage that the brain has had since a child, from using fluoride toothpaste to eating cereal that got paint chips in it, all these different things that was put into the human system to destroy the body, which damages the soul path.
And I don't mean to cut your wisdom, but look, let me pick up on where you at. Think about what bro's saying, bro, because I just want y'all to zoom out, right? Because this is the observer effect. Just zoom out from the conversation, pull yourself out of it in real time, and then listen to what he's saying, and then look at all the shit that took place on the timeline. Fluoride, the GMOs, how they fucking with the food. Then we can talk about how corrupt the music got, right? We can go back to earlier time periods like the 60s, the 70s, 80s, even the 90s, early 2000s. Just pay attention to the frequencies, how the 808s changed, how they changed the music. And then like how bro was just talking about how you listen to particular frequencies or, certain things to keep his brain in a more meditative state. Think about how they introduced particular drugs, particular diseases, certain viruses. Think about all the things they've done that in real time, we never stop to zoom out and look at all this shit and be like, hey, wait a minute. What's really taking place in my reality? But I'm so caught up in the hustle and bustle of surviving, like I say, survival mode, right? So we don't never stop to pull ourselves out of the story and see ourselves as these little characters. Think about anything Masonic, black and white, chess. Black and white, think about it. The black man, the white man. We the chess pieces on the game, right? And they trying to funnel us into a particular timeline. And they've done it through magic, Enochian magic, shit that they've hidden from you so you can't counter magic. And they've made it spooky and put it in secret society.
This world is built off AI technology and black magic. And just to say something real quick, that what we've been programmed to believe all our life was that junk DNA. What if that junk DNA is actually the light code to activation to your?
That's exactly what it is. Come on, I was saying, bro. That's exactly what it is. You spot on. Well, think about it. Listen, so they told us 90.
So that's what I'm saying. So everything that I've been doing lately, everything is already within. So proper exercise, proper health, all of these things are ways to walk the path of know thyself. Because now I walk around and now I look at the world. I ain't looking at nothing but a screen. I see the binary code in trees, in cars, in people. I'm talking to somebody. I see the zeros and the ones and they talking.
Look up, Z.
The veil. Hello?
I say, look out, Z. I'm about to fuck you up even more. Look, think about this. Because of what you saying, same shit I be experiencing, like to where I could damn near see the code in real time. Like, I be having little glitches and shit, bro. But Pete, think about what you just said. They've conditioned us all to look into this black scrying mirror, bro. Think about what's going on. Niggas don't even realize the big ass spell that we've all been put under. Like when you really start diving into the esoteric arts and understanding the sacred knowledge and shit that they've kept from us, and you really start seeing what these folks have done, I'm gonna send y'all a bunch of shit in the chat, bro. But look, the black scrying mirror, like you say, we all been watching these. Think about Black Mirror, where they put out the episode where they gonna have everybody trapped in the crib. We already doing this shit involuntarily. We all looking through phones, our connection, the way we interact with people, like even the way we having this meeting on this piece of technology, bro. When you go looking to see what AI is, what they say apparently able to do, it picks up on your bio, your what is it called? It's like a biomagnetic.
Biometrics.
Yeah.
But this motherfucker is absorbing. It's absorbing your energy, your frequency.
Oh yeah, harvesting it. Yeah.
We ain't nothing but a soul, a battery, and a vessel, dog, having like a virtual experience in this 3D realm. And your soul is
in a room. Your soul is locked up, stored away somewhere in a room, somewhere, something. This is not real reality. You never.
Yeah, bro.
You never
watch that Great Flood, man.
None of this stuff. You never went
Yeah.
anywhere.
We got a higher self somewhere. Yeah.
And that could be in the Pillar of Souls where Enoch said he saw. That could actually be in the Pillar of Souls where Enoch said he saw when he went to the heavens. And see, everything else, everything else you experiencing could be, fabricated. You know what I'm saying? Just like y'all be talking about the NPC players. It could be a core of real souls that's here locked in the Pillar of Souls that Enoch talk about, and everything else that you see could be fabricated, including the people who are in reality NPC players that's meant to keep us on the track. You see what I'm saying?
I want all y'all to finish, but think about what Roger said. Man, how many people do you really interact with on a daily basis, right? So what he's saying is like we think just by default that everybody real, that everybody got a soul.
Nah,
but
everybody
I
ain't real.
about that shit one day. I'm like, bro, I'm do my little business. I go handle, store, whatever my little. But you hide by whatever little bypassing you might have for the. But when you think about it, like we're not. Think about how you know yourself on this deep level to where you know what you do, and on the soul level, you can almost confirm to yourself like, am I real? Do I have a soul? But to know another person on that level and to that depth, you don't have that type of relationship with many people other than anybody outside of your family. And I'm just saying that in the grand scheme of this, like to piggyback off of what Roger said, we assume 8 billion motherfuckers got souls. Even like how he said, where 8 billion fucking people came from. When you think about all of the complications,
you would never see 8 billion people, fam.
Nah.
You would never see.
We don't even know if 8 billion people exist.
You would never see it.
Come on.
You don't even know. Listen. This is I brought this down to a science. Like you would never even know that you even have a brain, bro. Somebody told you that you had a brain. You would never see a real live brain. You would never see a real live heart unless you are programmed to be a heart surgeon or a brain surgeon. You assume these things. Everything that you do is automatic. Your body breathes automatic. You digest your food automatic. You get what I'm saying?
We could literally all
in a system where you think you have free will when you really don't. It's being controlled
I
and
thought
governed
about
by
that.
higher principalities.
Right. I thought about that shit. See, I'm like, I was like,
Yeah.
what
I want everybody, when they get a chance, to look at this.
Join the school of esoteric knowledge.
It's called solipsism.
Drop it in the chat, bro.